rules. It took them 3 years to do that. They finally have done it. We talked to the central bank about unlocking funds to enable going to build agent networks in more remote parts of the Northeast. I think they're finally looking to do something around that. But just sort of, having government work with you and work closely with you is very important. I will want to make a point that we do pay our taxes, and I will come to you afterwards because, as Jumoke and some other people can state, we have another issue going on with a tax guy now where we're being asked to pay VAT on something that we shouldn't be paying VAT on. So I'm going to come to you on that. We're not in the cloud. We're in Nigeria. Although I'll be honest that, our data center had downtime last week for the second time in 8 years. Actually, funny enough, this is the one thing I thought we'll have great problems with in Nigeria. And it's been the thing I've had to worry the least about is the data center. But the fact that it went down and we're down for 3 hours last week started making me consider going to the cloud because you'd never be down. So there's still work to be done, but we're very proud of what we're achieving. And we think that really, by the central bank now allowing us to offer savings products. So in April, we're going to launch a savings product on Paga. You can go to any agent and open a savings account, eventually do lending. This is how we're going to bank the unbanked. This is how we're going to bring people into the fold of financial services, just as we've seen done in other large countries like India and China, where it's been third-party-led companies that have achieved financial inclusion.
Thank you. Thank you, Tayo. I think that Tayo's comments really illustrate one challenge for us. As the Honorable Minister said, Africa, we're not here in Nigeria or Ogun State to catch up. We're here to leapfrog. But sometimes the leapfrogging is a challenge for the regulators because they are having to also stay current with that. And it's not easy. You can see in the financial services we have been delayed because, and it's not like the CBN is not very talented, but they have so many issues on their plate. It's hard to keep up. I want to call on now, I think we'll have a chance if we have time to circle back to everyone, but I want to call on Dr. Norbert to talk about vocational training and his work across Africa and here. But I also think it should be linked to what Dr. Delphine was saying about employment. So you think about when people build houses, Dr. Delphine said it creates 5 jobs, but those people have to be skilled. So how do we create skills to do that? So there's a relationship between the real estate market, housing market, and the vocational training that's really critical to get working together.
Yeah, good day. My name is Norbert Völker. Thank you for the invitation to come to your wonderful country. It's the first time in Ogun State. So yesterday I had the chance to be on your Olumi Rock, which was very nice. Thank you. Yes, and I'm working for the German Engineering Association, and this association has about 3,200 companies, German engineering companies as members, and I normally try to compare, let's say, Germany to some of the African countries, let's say in terms of the age, the average age. And then you can find out that in a way that Germany is an old folks home if you compare this to African countries. And we as the association and the companies, the engineering companies, have a strong wish to get as most as they can young people, the youngsters, to interest them for being engineers, for being artisans in all these different trades which are offered. And the German companies, they invest a lot in their young people, and I'm very often asked, why do the German companies do that? And for sure, it's an investment, and we are sitting here in an investment forum, so it's an investment in the future to say we want to have those young guys working for us in the future. We want that they are very good during their education and be productive during their education, and for sure then support the business and also get the work done. This is very important. And so now, as the German engineering is exporting about 80% into all countries all over the world, we are looking also where this equipment goes to and where are the customers. Do those people have the right skills of operating, maintaining, servicing the machinery to let the business go? We know that the German products are very efficient, and this can support lots of business, but it's very necessary that the young people, they are skilled, that the workers who work with this machinery are skilled and they can run this. But for building up a system where young people can learn these things and to get into the trades, be an artisan and so on, some things are very necessary. One thing is a good reputation. That means if I have a young person who wants to be, let's say, a car mechatronic, it needs to be a picture of where can I go to, what will I be afterwards, can I feed the family with what I do once I'm done this training. And for that, it's very important that the companies play a major role in that, to open the gates, to show what is it when you work with us. So we have, as an association in Germany, a very good overview over these different companies, what they do in terms of attracting young people to be with them, to be an engineer, to be an artisan, and all these kind of things. Most of our companies, as I said, they are at all 3,200, are small and middle-sized, with an average number of employees of about roughly 200 employees. So those companies, they're all making a lot of effort into that. They open their gates, they invite, they do cooperations with schools, with kindergartens, with universities and so on, to get a huge exchange and, let's say, good interlocking of the industry and the public sector. This is very, very crucial, I think. And so we, as an association, we started to support local training centers in 3 African countries, which are Nigeria and Botswana and Kenya, to support in what we can do. The focus is to cooperate with local training centers and just add what we as German, with our knowledge, can do, but the main input needs to come from the local training center, which is very close connected to industry, or is the industry itself.
Thank you. That's very helpful. When we circle back, I'm going to ask you for more details about the work in Nigeria, but it's just to register how critical this is. Nigeria needs to create 4 million jobs a year in order to reduce poverty and drive down youth unemployment. 4 million jobs a year. Ogun State, by our estimates, has to produce 2 to 250,000. And of course, I know we're all focused on the JAM results, but the reality is most of those jobs will have to be created in the trades, and servicing autos, and servicing air conditioners, masonry, carpentry, electricians, catering. So it's critical for us to get the vocational training right in this country to drive forward. So I want to turn now, I'm sorry, I can't say Dr. Ya, I don't think. No Dr. Ya. No doctor, right? Okay, it's just my friend Ya, who runs Unilever here, which of course is one of the world's global companies, and is also, he'll talk more, very large in Ogun State. And of course, manufacturing is not always easy in our environment, but Unilever's made the commitment and growing it. So Ya's going to talk a little bit about what they're doing in Ogun, but also some of the opportunities and challenges that he sees for the manufacturing sector and how we could go even faster.
Well, thank you. I suppose the first thing to ask ourselves is what role business wants to play in the entire development effort. And my view is that we have to think about ourselves as being in a complementary role with what the state is doing. So number one is that we're long-term investors. Obviously, development is a non-linear journey. Sometimes you will go through some of the challenges that we have been through in the recent past. But if you're keeping your eye on the long-term goal, then there's absolutely no doubt that the credentials of Nigeria in terms of offering huge long-term potential exist. And the task of business is to look for those levers that can catapult them into setting up world-class examples. Now, most of our manufacturing is done in Ogun State, and I was saying to the moderator before we came, because he was asking me how have the last years been, I said to him, in my first year, I would not have thought that at the beginning of my 5th year, I'll be saying what I am saying now, but in the period of the recession, in the 94-year history of Unilever in Nigeria, we've had some of our best years. Why has that been?